Cape Charles Town Council regular meeting for August 18th, 2016 will come to order, and a roll call, please.
Madam President.
Ms. Alley present. Sullivan present.
Brad present.
Madam President.
We have a quorum, thank you very much. Let's stand for a minute of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to start with a proclamation relative to former Mayor Alice Brown, who passed away several weeks ago. Whereas, on behalf of our community, we wish to record our deep sorrow over the passing of Ms. Alice Brinkley Brown on August 1st, 2016, and whereas Alice Brown's life was dedicated to the best interests of the community, she began her teaching career in 1948 at the Eastville School and taught at various schools in the town of Cape Charles and Northampton County. She worked through integration and retired in 1987. And whereas she was fundamental in forming Camp Chautauqua, a social club for the purpose of helping the youth on the Eastern Shore succeed in life, and whereas she began her public service on the Cape Charles Planning Commission in 1976 before her election to the Town Council in 1980. She served on the Town Council until 1992 when she was elected mayor and became the town's first female and first African American mayor. She remained mayor until 1996. And whereas during her tenure on the Town Council and as mayor, she strived to make Cape Charles a better place to live, she was involved with the development of the Sustainable Technologies Eco Industrial Park and the annexation agreement with Brown and Root, the establishment of the town park, improvement of the harbor, implementation of a transportation system to aid people in commuting up and down the shore, and whereas the town of Cape Charles is deeply indebted to Alice Brown for giving her service with such devotion, earning the respect, admiration, and friendship of all the citizens of our community through her professional leadership and dedication. Now, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the town of Cape Charles, I, George Croto, in recognition of Alice Brown's many contributions to our community and its citizens, hereby express the town's deepest appreciation for her service to our community and extend to her family our sincere sympathy upon her passing, adopted by the Town Council of Cape Charles on this 18th day of August 2016. May I have a motion to approve this proclamation?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Let's all think about Ms. Brown's service to the community. She did many great things for this town. Next order of business, public comments. Do we have any?
Bert Turner.
Mr. Turner, welcome.
Mayor,
Again.
the Town Council, I'm going to be very brief tonight. Pull your microphone up. I'm here to represent Cherry Stone One LLC, the contract purchaser for the harbor development property on the south side of the harbor. I believe you have in your packet. They've asked to rezone the property to industrial M2. They wish to expand their operations to make the port facility more usable on the site. The material storage there as well. I think everything's in the package, and I do not have the PowerPoint presentation with me tonight, so I don't have Mr. Reynolds with me, but I have the other people involved in the project, Jim Gunn, Pearl Baldwin, Air Ball, and Dan Browner here. I'll answer questions if there are any that I cannot answer. There are conditional use permits also requested for the use of specified applications. We look at these as a hand in glove. In other words, we need the rezoning or after those conditional uses, really need a rezoning unless the conditional uses are going to be approved. Nothing more to add, just here to answer questions if council has any.
Any questions from you on this? We reviewed this pretty thoroughly already. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would like a clarification. No. It's just, if they're presenting their thing tonight, shouldn't they make their presentation, not limited to 3 minutes, make their presentation before we actually vote on it? The other night at the planning commission, they gave them 3 minutes. And then everybody, yeah, I would feel if the planning commission thing that, if you're the ones that are coming as applicants, you should have unlimited time to present your case, not by 3 minutes. Do the same thing tonight.
Actually, at 9.
Excuse me?
We had 9.
Yeah, but they had to keep, other people had to give their minutes. I mean, I think if you come petitioning the council, what?
Okay. Let me see where this is. I would, if it's a sense of council that they would like to modify the agenda, we can do that to allow them time to speak.
It's not a modification of the agenda, you just ask them
It's
if
already
they
on
want to
the
speak
agenda.
during the agenda, because it's already on the agenda.
That's fine. I don't see any problem with that at all.
No.
All right.
Okay.
When we get down to that, we'll give them time to speak. Yeah, well, it's all right. Any motion to approve the agenda?
Wait a minute, we still have one more public comment.
Oh, we do?
Yes, Bill Burkett?
Beg your pardon, Mr. Burkett. Please step up.
Good evening, everybody. Bill Burkett, 210 Tazewell Avenue. And this is on something that's probably of less importance to the town than the Cherrystone LLC business. But in any case, I'm here to talk about the concerts in Central Park. We've, as you know, Citizens for Central Park has been presenting a series of concerts this summer. It's been going well. We've had, I guess, close to 2,000 people attending so far. We still have 3 concerts to go. We're getting universally good feedback on the concerts. We've tried to present a little something for everybody. And like I said, it's going well. The concerts have been free, but the performers are not free.
Back away from the mic,
Okay.
just a little bit.
Okay. The concerts are free, but the performers are not. A lot of people in conversation are under the mistaken impression that the town of Cape Charles is funding these concerts, and that is not the case. The concerts have been funded almost entirely by Citizens for Central Park and donations that we've raised at various events and at the concerts themselves. We'd like these concerts to continue for 2017, and I'm here just to kind of plant a seed tonight to council to think about how you might be able to help fund these concerts. Obviously, they fit in well with recreational uses of the park. They fit in well with tourism in town. They benefit tourism and they benefit local residents in Cape Charles and Northampton County and beyond. So in the coming months, Citizens for Central Park may present a formal request for funding, which I know is tight, but I'm hoping tonight just to get you all to sort of think about how the town might be able to help. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any other
No,
comments?
that was it.
Fine, thank you. Any motion to approve the agenda format? Any comments? All in favor? Agenda format is approved. I need a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any comment on the minutes? All in favor of approving?
Aside from the fact that I wasn't at one of the meetings, and therefore I will recuse myself from voting on that.
That is fine. Noted. So noted.
Oh, me too.
So noted. All in favor? Okay, the minutes are approved as read with 2 recusals. Treasurer's report.
$378,065, which is a decrease of $220,216 over June. That's typical of July. The total restricted or reserved cash was $1,358,655. And the total cash in all accounts was $3,536,720. We have a debt service payment due October 5th, and that's for the BMO Mako 2010 general obligation bond, and that's for $128,791. Page 2. Current budget performance and fund balance as of the end of July. General fund had year-to-date revenue of $84,000, year-to-date expenses of $280,000, for a net balance of negative $196,000. As I said, that's normal for this time of year. Public Utilities Fund has year-to-date revenue of $135,000, year-to-date expenses of $107,000, for a net balance of $28,000. The Harbor Fund has year-to-date revenue of $84,000, year-to-date expenses of $82,000, for a net balance of $2,000. Sanitation Fund, revenue of $16,000, and year-to-date expenses of $1,600, for a net balance of $14,400. On the capital projects, the only payment made, the only capital expenditure made in July was for the trail project, and that was $52,588. The tax collection statistics is not going to have much, I'll leave it on there just in case you have questions about the assessments, but there's not much to report until we do the billings in the fall.
Just a quick question. It says amount due negative $3,227. I don't know.
Oh, that's just that's a formula. I can take that. That's because we've not billed anything. Normally, if there was an amount billed, it would show the amount due. I just take the formula out for
Okay.
the next one.
One question. So the total real estate assessed value was down that far from the previous year, 427 to 347. Yep.
It's mostly in land value versus.
Yeah.
The same for the 3-year revenue comparison on the last page. There's only 1 month's worth of data, and it appears that some of the tax collections are a little low, but we had a few. Well, it only takes one business owner to turn it in late to affect it. And that's what happened. We had several with the top and the nails tax did not turn their returns in on time. And B-Poll is about where it should be. We had a large amount last year because we collected several years back business licenses. And the sales tax is just a little bit elevated last year. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions here?
I'd like to congratulate you. Going back centuries ago when I first moved here and came on council, every August we had to borrow money from the bank to pay our bills. That was every year. And with the hysteria that's been thrown out about how insolvent Cape Charles is and former newspaper articles or electronic media, how bad things are, Cape Charles is, I think we're healthy.
We are helping. Money
And no one's going to jail.
no one's going to jail.
Yes, you.
Yes.
Very well.
When you read the audit report, you'll see what a cushion we've got for allowable debt ratio.
Yeah, no, most people don't do that. Most time when they go into debt, they're 80% in debt when they buy a house, and we're almost the whole opposite. Right? That's why I was laughing when I see we're over it.
Sam?
Our short-term rental tax, I see that's going down to 25% from 2015. Can you explain that?
That's primarily because someone didn't turn a large one didn't turn in their return. A little more next month. They didn't return it until August.
Okay.
The July return. It was,
With much rental, short-term rentals we have in Cape Charles, that should be way above what you're showing in 2015.
we'll know more next month when we do a little catch up in 2 months of data.
How far are we ahead in meals tax compared to last year?
Well, this is about a month to look. We were doing very well as in June, but just 1 month's data, we have no cushion, so it just takes one vendor to not turn in their own business.
I'm almost curious to see what happened with the Lucy Farm.
Yeah, but
That's next month.
Yeah, they'll file that in August.
These are all year-to-date revenues.
Right, so it's just July.
So they can bounce around a lot,
Mhm.
given that it's only 1 month.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
But on the August report, that should be reflected.
So I have one question. Does anybody else have any questions on this? Go ahead.
Debbie, tremendous amount of home rentals. How do you stay on top of that? I mean, I'm paying my monthly sales tax and my TOT tax. And I hate to see some shiny person slide by me and not pay. Would you need somebody to help you pursue that? I'll throw that out to you.
That would be awesome. If you see something, say something.
Yes.
That always helps. We do at least once a year in the middle of summer, between budget and this time of year, internet search, mostly internet search, but different sizes Airbnb, and make sure everyone is captured, which could be difficult because sometimes it's by the owner's name, by the cutesy rental name, and sometimes by the address. So we have a database that we try to match things up, make sure people are filing. We also have we don't have TOT in our finance accounting system, but we do have it in a spreadsheet. So I've got a program to turn yellow if someone didn't file, so that pops, so we can go back and check on that.
and on the new stuff, you actually sharing stuff with the building department so they can capture the inspection fees, because that's another,
We added a question on the vehicle application, which we have a special one just for vacation rentals and rental managers that says, do you have a current rental inspection?
it's two different fee structures, long-term versus short-term.
Yeah, we don't do anything with the long-term in our department,
Well, I mean, for them, so they know if they answer or not.
but we did add that this
Good.
year.
Would you like us to consider hiring somebody to help?
Well, the new person, that would be great. The new person, hopefully that'll be one of their tasks.
You're looking for something now?
We just, we're moving desks tomorrow, making room, and the ad should be in by next week.
Okay. So I have a question about public utilities in the harbor. Public utilities look like they're way down, and granted, it's only 1 month revenues. And same for the harbor. The harbor seems to be almost half what it was prior year. Do you have any thoughts on
That
that?
could be, I'll have to look, it could be grant or outside funding related. I'll have to check on the revenue.
That's a big
So-
difference.
Yeah, the expenditures are lower too, though. So we'll have to check. I don't know if the harbor report reflects year
The
over year.
expenditures were lower last year
And for
than
the-
this year.
I'm sorry, the expenditures were higher in the harbor and revenues were higher.
It was part of the question,
Exactly.
Right. Well, these numbers, the QuickBooks numbers that the harbor master has to use, those, I discussed with them this week. The reports, we've got a consultant coming in and we're gonna upgrade QuickBooks. Ours is already sundown, we're gonna get those reports up to par. You want to report off of one computer, get one number, and off the other, get another number. So it's been difficult to capture a number, but what's booked in the financial system, that's accurate because it matches cash.
Right. So, can you come back next month with some
An
insight on
analysis
that?
of,
And then also with public utilities, it's, you know,
I can tell you what it is right now. It's accruals. We haven't done accruals for
for the harbor for public utilities.
either. We haven't done any accruals for the 2016 year. We have till the end of September to be on this term, which is
Okay, we can talk more offline.
But yeah, I'll look at it, let you know why they're so
Okay.
different.
Okay.
Before you go, I have a question. I was reading in the paper that Virginia Beach Town Council was looking to do a tax for Airbnb. They had passed something, and I'm wondering, are we already covered under that, or would we have to address as council Airbnb rentals separately?
Well, I'll have to look at that. If they're short-term vacation rentals, they seem to be covered just because they're named Airbnb.
Less than 90 days, right? Okay.
Less than 30 days. 30 days.
Okay.
Living,
The town council and Virginia Beach, or city council put out something the other night, I got the language on my desk. But, with Virginia being a Dillon Rural state, we're not supposed to do any make any, laws or anything like that without strict permission from the legislature. And in last year's session, they tabled discussion to make a decision on Airbnbs, to do research and everything like that. So there's nothing in the code of Virginia right now allowing any of the localities in Virginia to regulate the Airbnbs. Now,
Either way.
they did not.
They did not pass it.
They did not pass
There
it.
was quite an outcry about
Yeah.
that.
They're researching it for the year, and then they're gonna bring it up this coming session in January.
I only know one Airbnb on the beach, sure that's David Campbell. Does anybody else know Airbnb in Cape Charles? I haven't read it.
How about this is the time to discuss it?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, what I'd like to
The
do,
point's been made, let's move on.
well, what I'd like to do is I'd like to get this examined, because I don't see any reason why we could not tax them, we tax short-term rentals, period. And it doesn't matter how you advertise them, but
I'll
let's
send out
find
the
out.
city's language, that's what they did, they just did their top tax, just saying that any short-term rentals. They didn't address Airbnb
Right, I
specifically.
don't think
I'll
we-
send that
I
out to
don't
you
think we need
tomorrow.
to do that, I think we're covered, but we'll
And
find out.
ours says the same thing.
Okay, so, any other questions for Debbie? All right, I need a motion to pass the, approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Treasurer's report is approved. Let's see, next order of business is under planning commission, and then we're going to go to the other reports.
Your Honor, members of council, Madam Clerk, just want to bring your attention to one update on the department report. Wetlands and Coastal Boom Board met on the 27th. There's an application for residential riprap. That application process, that part of the meeting was continued, pending an additional report from the Virginia Institute for Marine Sciences. That supplemental report came in on the 16th. It was distributed, so the Wetlands Board has scheduled the continuation meeting for Thursday the 25th, 6 o'clock in this room. Otherwise, there's no more updates.
Any questions? Thank you. Let's go on, code enforcement.
Unless the council has questions for me.
Anything special you want to point out?
Not yet. A lot of stuff upcoming.
Like going on.
Okay.
Any questions? Thank you. Let's see. Library.
I don't have anything to add unless there are any questions.
Library continues to be very busy.
We had a great summer. This was our last week of programs.
Thank you very much. Questions? Nope. Police department. Any questions from anyone on the council?
I have questions, Chief. When you, underneath each bracket, like traffic summons, it says 1, 2, 3, whatever. How many of those, like consuming alcohol while driving, is that one arrest, one summons?
Is it one DUI?
No, there's no number by them.
There is one DUI up here.
There's one DUI.
Up here. DUI.
Okay. Okay, I see that.
Okay?
Sure.
What do you got to show us?
This was, I think it probably helped me with it. Presented to the fire department for their work on the flagpole.
I like that flagpole.
It was presented to the fire company for FIS, with Fire and Service Insurance Services. They're one of their, basically our overall rider for all our fire insurance. And they just happened to see it on Facebook, and they were intrigued by it. And this guy wanted to present us a flag in recognition of the hard work put up.
That's great.
Paint those stars were hell.
That's terrific.
They weren't hard enough, but it's on like that.
Show the public.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Okay, good job. And I like the flagpole.
So,
And I like the flagpole.
Yeah.
That
out of town this evening, with a graduation, but I can attempt to answer any questions council may have as asked.
I don't have any questions. I have my continuing comment on wastewater production, exceeding water production this month by 500,000. And his report seems somewhat lax. I don't know what task order 4 is. We received a copy of the ER. He continues to report on the chloramine addition, and I thought he had decided that that was not worth pursuing, so I'm not sure why that continues to show up in the report. So Public Works, there's a man-hours per project per task category that has been on the report for a long time, has not been filled in since Pete left, and continues not to be filled in. So if that information is not going to be available, we can take that off his report. If he uses it for something, then I'd like to see.
Points are well taken. I notice we also have something called fire calls, man-hours, sludge, and tons. I don't know that that's ever filled in. Do we need to know that? And if we need to know it, then let's add it. Otherwise, let's take it off. Any other questions? We continue to be below the phosphorus average and the nitrogen average, which is a good thing. Any other questions here?
Yeah, any word on the circulating?
I know he's making progress with them, but they're gonna have a representative engineer in the, one location, maybe later next week, to sort of try to troubleshoot that and figure out what's going on out there. So hopefully we'll have more to add to that once they're able to evaluate the situation.
Yeah, I guess the other thing is we had a lot of discussion about the need for the Keck wells, and I thought we had asked for a plan that says how much water do we need and when, as a way to decide whether to go forward with that and at what point we should go forward with it. At this point, as far as I'm aware, the Keck wells are on hold. We're not going to be spending that money just yet. We have it available if we need to, but we need to know, when do we need it, and what's driving the need for it. Is it, salt uptake? Is it demand? Is it whatever it is? So I think I'd like to get that very well. Anything else, guys? Okay. Public Works, we did. Recreation.
Jim's unable to be here tonight, but if you have any questions, I'll attempt to answer those.
I have no questions. Anyone have any questions? Okay.
The circus is coming?
The circus is not coming.
The circus is not coming?
They are not coming.
Change
I
the
received an email shared with Jen and the board of CCP. Due to all the flooding, they've had to seriously revamp their whole schedule, and they are not going to be able to come down the Eastern Shore at the end of August, beginning of September, as we had hoped.
All right, let's go on. Town Council representative to the library board.
Do you need a motion to it? You need a
Well, let's,
nomination?
yeah.
I'd like to nominate Councilman Bennett to the library board.
Councilman Banner, would you accept that nomination? You would. Is there a second?
I second.
You don't want it. Is there any discussion of this?
No, but when we're out of town, don't ever try to nominate us, but we're not here.
Okay, all in favor of appointing Councilman Banner to the library board? Any opposed? Congratulations. Okay, next.
You knew that.
Zoning map amendment application parcel 8383-11-2.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, we've got my staff report. The public hearing, joint public hearing was held on Monday. Public hearing was open and closed. Planning Commission then proceeded to go into deliberation and discussion at the regular meeting about this application. The Planning Commission recommends unanimously that the map amendment for parcel 8383-11-2 from harbor to industrial M2 be approved.
Let us have a motion to approve that, and we'll take a second, and then we will have any discussion, and if Mr. Turner wishes to say anything, he has the opportunity to say something.
So make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? Mr. Turner?
Can't we just take a second bite of the apple? I just wanted one minute to tell you why the property is so appropriate for my client. Looking at the world of luxury yachts and how they travel. Chesapeake Bay is a great location for the east coast of the United States, and looking at Chesapeake Bay, Cape Charles in particular is a very unique and special location, and why they would like to have this as a marine terminal and boat yard. Property, as you know, is situated between the Bayshore Concrete property and property already owned by a related company, Sideforth, but they're already getting to be more active all the time with the boats. The site with the combination of access to the harbor, or the Chesapeake Bay, rail, in particular the highway being built into there, it's very much very useful, and we hope that you will all agree that rezoning it as we requested, for the uses we requested, is the appropriate right thing for the property. We ask you to vote.
Any questions for Mr. Turner? All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried.
Was there any bearing on, is there any bearing with moving the, our Anchorage, your company's?
It's too late.
I know, I'm just thinking of it.
It's too late.
It's not, it's a comment.
No, sir.
Laura, it was your responsibility to keep them calm.
Okay.
Some of those container ships will fit some lift.
Okay. Yes, the conditional use permit. Let's look at that next year. Okay, reappointment to building code board of appeals. I beg your pardon. I'm trying to get through faster. I need a motion to approve the conditional use permit.
I make the motion.
Is he gonna present it now?
Nothing additional.
Well, after we'll have the motion, we'll have a second, then you get to present if you want. Is there a second for that?
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Well, I am in agreement with the exception, one of the same exceptions that Larry presented in his report, which is structures other than buildings exceeding 50 feet, and it's not that I'm opposed to that. I just don't know what they are, but pieces for conditional use, I just want to clarify that any structure that exceeds 50 feet will have to have a conditional use approved. So there's still an opportunity, there will be an opportunity to see whatever it is prior to approving a conditional use for something that exceeds 50 feet.
In addition to this, this conditional use does not cover that. We need an additional conditional use permit.
Well, then,
That's not the way it reads.
See,
That's what I'm asking.
in the planning commission, one of the things we did in the planning commission is the view shed of the harbor was much higher because of the tree line. So we had, when the Gallagher property had went for conditional use permit to have, the boat storage bins were well over 50 feet, right next to the silos. And that basically, we basically, in that part of that whole setup that we did, it was based upon the angle of the tack. And that, I don't know if it's still in there or not. We did that, I think right when you got here, or right before you got here. that we talked about. And I know that something, John, do you remember that? We were talking about the boat storage over there being the same height as the silos.
No, I don't remember that.
You definitely did, I definitely remember that.
What was the planning commission's position on that? They approved it.
Because of the tree line, is gonna be obscured anyway. Because the trees are actually higher than the actual structure. What's behind it. I mean, we had discussions about that.
Is there any limit on the height they can put there?
No, because that, I mean, yeah, it almost a limit to the silo heights.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, sure.
may our partner, Jim Dunn, speak to this?
Sure.
We're not asking for anything over 50 feet for structures, but as far as the port, we have to have a material handler on our cranes sitting out there, and they will exceed.
I see.
Not fixed.
But they're not
They're
buildings,
not
they're not.
structures.
Maybe it's the terminology. So it says structures other than buildings.
Other than buildings.
Right.
A crane typically is movable. Is it gonna, you're talking about a fixed crane?
No, it'd be a harbor crane on wheels or a track crane.
So I don't consider that a structure.
No, it's not considered a structure.
But I guess it's just a wording thing, Larry. Is it
Structures other than 50 feet, say.
structures other than buildings?
Other than buildings, correct.
They say,
And a fixed crane would be a structure.
but it's not fixed.
Correct. Correct. I know transportation for a movable crane. It's completely logical that there is a movable crane that's not specifically stated.
Adjacent property.
I understand.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about that, disputing that, or
I got what's in front of me.
opposing that.
I got
Just
what's in front of me.
structures other than buildings exceeding 50 feet. If they propose a
Radio
structure other than 50 feet, a cement silo
A radio tower. is a
or a
structure.
radio tower. Now, does that still have to be approved?
That would be under this conditional use.
So no matter, it could be anything. They could come forward and say, we want to put a wind turbine out there that's 500 feet tall, and it's already approved for conditional use?
Structure other than a building exceeding 50 feet. That's the language from the ordinance. I can't add text that isn't approved.
So you're saying we have to modify the ordinance and do what is language?
No, we could put conditions on this conditional use.
That's
Is
correct.
that not correct?
That is correct.
We
That's an option.
could put conditions on this conditional use.
Thanks for helping me, that's what I'm
You're
trying
welcome.
to get
Yes.
out of you, is
But this ordinance isn't just, you're right.
So that's
Do you want to
one
put some
point
language?
that you're concerned about. I just have a question, because I know that, and by the way, I fully support developing the Port of Big Charles. I think that's wonderful. I'm a little bit concerned about storage of commercialized bulk and or other cargo, and whether or not any of the items that will be stored could become dangerous, could be cause for explosion. I know we're not talking about explosives, but for example, if it was grain or silos that can explode if there's too much. And so I just want to know what precautions, if any, we're taking, or what limitations we might have.
That'll be the federal government, DEQ.
Pardon?
That'll be the federal government, DEQ, that mandate that stuff.
We will meet any state regulations associated with anything we put over there.
Oh, that's federal.
State or federal.
Do you want to propose some language, some words other than structures, Steve?
Mayor, may I make a comment?
Other than moving on.
In just a second, yes.
I'm not prepared to propose it this instance, no, because I was trying to get clarification, and what I'm hearing is that it can be clarified, but,
That has not been.
and I'm hearing Larry say he can't change that sentence.
We can't change the code, but we can put conditions on the approval of this conditional use. Is that not correct? So we could say we approve this conditional use, except that structures other than buildings cannot exceed 50 feet without an additional conditional use, or 51 feet without an additional, or 60, pick a number, without an additional conditional use. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
So, I mean, that's an easy do, and I'm not sure we want to wait a month for it.
I do not want to wait a month.
Yeah, I don't either.
Just wanted to address, realizing the language may allow something like a 500-foot wind turbine or a radio tower with no intention to do anything like that. The thought was a crane or something of that nature, maybe not thinking the exact thing would be. We wouldn't have any problem with a restriction that went to 100 feet. I think that would eliminate things like radio towers, wind turbines, that sort of
Well, I know, speaking of cranes, depending on what it is you're lifting, you can come in with a boom that exceeds 100 feet. Again, I don't have a problem with that.
But that's not a fixed structure.
It's not a fixed structure. So the language, similar to what Joe proposed, that if you come in for a request for a structure exceeding 50 feet,
Why not just put the word in with the exception of movable cranes?
No fixed structure. Cranes are not fixed.
Yeah,
Do you foresee,
movable cranes,
do you foresee anything other than a crane?
You may have a material handler, which is a backhoe with a handle. I think there's one over there at Stanford.
Those old structures, so we're not even addressing
We won't see anything
movable equipment.
at this time.
This says structures other than buildings, correct, exceeding 50 feet.
The exception of movable.
No, it doesn't need to say the exception of movable isn't
Movable
even
is
being
not
addressed.
structure.
They can bring in anything movable they want.
That's what I mean, fixed structure.
It's fixed is what, structures other than buildings exceeding 50 feet. Need an additional, I don't know what the appropriate word is.
It seems like with the clarification of, perhaps we confuse things that are not structures or structures. It sounds like to me, talking to my client, that they really probably don't need this particular exception if it's given casual. Concerns about that, we can
No, because,
withdraw that.
as Andy pointed out, if there's gonna be something in town that exceeds 50 feet in height, that's where it needs to be, away from downtown, across the harbor, so that it doesn't appear as tall as it is. Bay Shore's silos over there are 70 or 90 feet tall, I don't remember what, but, it's fine over there. What I want to guard against is someone that comes in and says, I want to put a 500-foot wind turbine.
Well, it sounds like from our purposes that we can't contemplate needing anything that would be a structure of 50 feet, so if council.
So we could just remove that entirely?
You can remove that, and if things change, would have to come back and ask if there was a particular structure, we said,
I think that's
51 feet, we can come back and ask.
If we delete that, then they want to propose something that exceeds 50 feet, then they come back to the condition.
That's no harm to our.
Okay. If you're in agreement with that, I'm fine.
And given that something movable is not a structure, you're good to go, right?
Yes. And that's what we were thinking about.
So just to be sure, Larry, is there anything in our ordinances that would prevent them from bringing in a 100-foot movable crane?
No, it's a vehicle.
Okay, or anything like that?
No, it's a vehicle.
Can we strike,
It's a vehicle, and this talks specifically about structures.
can we strike that?
So I make a motion that we approve this conditional use with the removal of item number 23 of the item-specific portion of the sentence.
Is there a second?
Item 23 is structures other than buildings exceeding 50 feet. If that sentence is removed,
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion on this before we vote?
I'm good.
Anything? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome to stay.
Reappointment.
Well, move on.
Yep, good. We're up there.
Yeah, Matthew Brown currently serves on the Building Code Board of Appeals, term expires September 10th. And Mr. Brown has expressed an interest in serving, continuing to serve on the board.
Make a motion to reappoint Matthew Brown to the Board of Appeals.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain from the vote. Can't do that, so.
The motion is carried with one abstention. Next, we need a planning commission representative to the Harbor Area Review Board.
Let's sing them all again. We actually had a resignation from the board the other night as well. Dennis McCoy, chairman of the planning commission, has also decided to step down from the heart. So there are 2 vacancies now from the planning commission. The planning commission had this on their agenda at their Monday night meeting. Following discussion, Commissioner Dan Burke and Commissioner Keith Costick came forward and were unanimously recommended have their names put in nomination for the council to consider appointment to the harbor.
Could you clarify, did Mr. McCoy resign from the HARB or from both the
No, he
planning
resigned.
commission
No.
and the HARB?
No, he can't leave the planning commission.
Okay.
He resigned from the harbor.
Thank you.
Yes.
It was getting some people confused.
And then Maureen. I know Maureen.
And so you have a recommendation for us?
Keith Costick and Dan Burke. It wouldn't be in the staff report that staff report came out.
Say it again,
It
please.
wouldn't be in your staff report because they made this determination Monday night.
Right, who's the name again?
I make a motion
Dan
that
Burke.
Dan Burke,
Dan, thank you.
Daniel Burke become a member of the HARB of the planning commission.
And
And Keith, and Keith, both, I'm sorry, I missed that one. And Keith Costick also.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Right, is there any discussion? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
I knew you were all going to vote in favor. Any opposed? Okay, it's carried. 2017 budget reappropriation.
There are 2 projects that we budgeted and planned for fiscal year 16, and they won't be completed until the current fiscal year. The first one is the VRS retirement system actuarial study for the town's police officers. That actually, we did get that invoice, it's $1,500, not $2,000. And then also the Southern software implementation, which has a remaining balance of $36,069, and then overtime for implementation at $3,000. There's a lot of keying in past due balances and the new data. So I'd like to request that you vote to reappropriate a total of $41,069 for fiscal year 2017 in order to complete both projects which are currently in progress.
Do you have a motion? There a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion for this?
Debbie, this Southern software FMS implementation, is that part of your new
That's a new
accounting
software.
system? Why is this taking so long to implement? It seems like it's been going
Yes,
on for 2 years.
we're crawling. One of the reasons is that I was out for almost 2 months with my father who was ill, and so we were slow getting started, and someone else jumped ahead of us that was ready, and so we're dragging a little behind. The
Is it also
second,
the company?
it was first us, and I don't think it's the company. It was first us, and then we got shifted behind in order of implementation start date.
So do we have anything installed?
The utility should be in shortly, and then following that, a tax module, and I talked to them today, and they're gonna give us a database and we can start entering in the, past due balances, prior year balances for taxes, so that'll be in place so we can do the data pull from the county.
What's the date that it'll be up and running?
Up and running the entire system, either the middle of October or the 1st of October if we can push. They have another one that's gonna go live October. They have someone go live September 1st and October 1st, so we're trying to get ours done piecemeal between them. So I'm pushing it for October 1st. The
October
utility,
1st, a year from this coming.
no, this. It'll be piecemeal. There are first will be utilities, and then there are taxes, and then the general ledger in between it, so we don't have to do it all at once. We can do it.
But it'll all be done in
It shall
online
be done in online,
October.
hopefully. I got pressed for October 1st, so maybe the middle of November.
Thank you.
Any further questions on this? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Next item is BML and NACO Finance Review of Refunding Bid Analysis.
In the July meeting, council approved town manager to authorize BML Baker to search for refunding opportunities for both the Series 2006 bonds and the Series 2013 bonds. They returned a very nice bid, which hopefully you read. That would save us a total of $153,666 in interest, and that's net of the refunding cost. So that amounts to a little over $11,000 a year in interest. It also ensures that the interest rate will remain constant throughout the life of both bonds, which were our objectives. So, if council agrees, I would recommend that you pass a resolution to authorize the issuance and sale of general obligation refunding bonds an amount not to exceed the refinancing of the Series 2013A and 2013B, and also the Series 2006 bonds, including accrued interest, financing, and administrative costs.
All right, I need a motion to approve resolution 201-60818. And after that, I'll make a motion to forego reading of that resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I move to forego reading of resolution 201-60818, authorizing the issuance and sale of its general obligation refunding bonds series 2016A and 2016B, and approving the execution and delivery of certain documents prepared in connection with it. Is there any discussion on this?
Yeah, I have a question. In this document, does it prevent us or penalize us if we choose to prepay?
No, I've dug through
So
them
we
to
can
make sure we
prepay anytime we want?
There may be, we found that this one, there may be limitations, like this one says before the next payment date. We have to do it on a payment date, so that's why our closure has to be September 1st. So there may be restrictions as far as the date of the month or the time of year, but we are allowed to prepay it without penalty.
Okay.
I need a vote to approve foregoing the reading of the resolution. We had a second from Mr. Bennett.
You don't need to vote for that, you just need to vote for the.
All right, good deal. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the roll call vote? Yes. Roll call vote, please.
Buckles, yes.
Brian, yes.
Bennett, yes.
Ben, yes.
Sullivan, yes.
Natalie, yes.
Motion is approved. Thank you very much. That's it.
Did we get, Harbor?
We didn't get a harbor. We didn't have, the mayor didn't ask for one.
Harbor is sitting
Harbor,
on.
I missed the harbor report. I did not skip
I thought it was
one.
here.
I did not see one, but maybe I missed it.
I didn't see it either.
But he's here.
Can you see it?
Yeah, I'm here.
Mayor, is there any questions from my, I guess you got a copy of my report? We had we've had many issues with their computer system involving lightning, and I lost some stuff and wasn't able to achieve or retrieve it, so that's why we was a little late getting it to Libby. So, if there's any questions?
Well,
We have no questions.
well, give us the highlights. Is there anything good that happened, really good that happened? Is there anything really bad that happened, and anything we need to
no.
Ongoing issues with sewage pumps,
Hours?
harbors and the shanties.
Shades.
That'll be in next month's report. Out of it, good, other than the expense, is we'll have 2 spare pumps in the town, ready to install. So the harbor crew don't have to pump sewage for 3 to 5 days to maintain their bathhouse or the shanty, to keep them up and running.
The failure that you had the other night when they had to shut the shanty down, is that the time sewage pump that failed?
No, it's actually the shanty's sewage pump, and they purchased their own. They bought a brand new one, and the one that come out of there is being repaired in town, and we have a spare in town as well. So one of the spares has come out of the shanty sewage system, and one of the spares has come out of the harbor system.
What, is that gonna be the shanty spare?
It'll be in the town for the town use, because I believe there are 6 total pumps in the town like that. So we would be able to use at our disposal.
But if it's their property, that's gonna do that.
Then, yeah.
If it's a shanty pump, it's a shanty pump. It's even though we're repairing it.
Their employees are the ones that are actually putting it in and out. And they're actually the ones operating the system. So it is ours, it's theirs, but we have it on our shelf.
Is that part of the lease agreement for the shanty?
I don't believe so.
Huh?
I don't
No,
believe
it's
so.
not.
They actually had their system, due to the grease issue they've had in the past. I'm learning a lot about this. Is that they have Bundic come and clean out their system, that actual tank and steam clean and evac that tank twice a year. They did it on Wednesday, it failed on Friday. So the actual pump windings in the motor burn up in this particular one.
I think the pump should just be repaired, just send a bill and see the pump back to them, it's their spare.
Yeah, they
Oh,
bought,
yeah, that's what will happen, right?
yes.
As long as it stays with them, I mean, if we're using it for our own stuff, that's a big risk for them, because they go down again.
Right.
Well,
Well, they have, as I understand it, they bought their own spare, correct?
they bought a brand new.
They bought a brand new
To replace the one
They're
that broke.
building the old one, and that will be their spare.
Yes,
And then we have our own spare,
right.
right?
But we'll maintain on our shelf, not maintain, we'll have them on our shelf, or in public works. We don't have a place to keep them.
Yeah.
They don't have a place to keep them. So, because right now they're using one of ours to maintain their system.
Until that new pump.
Well, it's here, we just have to install it.
Right.
Okay, anything else?
And I guess there were some questions about the financing. I've been working with Debbie. We're working with a QuickBooks, and we're actually stepping up our upgrade to today's standards, and we're going at least a step above to the Premier software package, so that it actually talks to each other better. Our systems, we got struck by lightning, our fuel system.
Yeah, the numbers were so crazy, we had a whack.
But
I don't know how to, I
Yeah.
mean, it's just the numbers just were really weird.
There's many factors on how data is input into the system. There's at least 3 different ways that they come up with a price, especially on a transit boat. It's by the boat, by the foot, and then there's at least 5 to 7 different people inputting that data.
So we charge 3 different ways of transient bill come in?
No, it's
Just the input method.
It's the input method. And
Why are there different input methods?
It's just the system is very difficult, we're trying to streamline it. I just remember too, though, there's a lot of the prepaid Slim sponsorships, that too, so that's probably last
Yeah,
year,
but-
was so high.
Well, what I'm getting, well, I guess with that, if we're inputting it 3 different ways and one fee is astronomically higher than the other.
No, it's
no,
not.
it's
It's
same.
just harder to find. That's down to the details. As far as the dollar amounts being different, that most likely is a result of the accruals that were done.
That's what I
They
mean.
were put prepaid in June and dumped in July, which helps for claims slam.
Data input notwithstanding, one of the things that needs to come out of this is you need to not present incorrect.
Yeah.
You need to look at it, and if it's wrong, we don't want to see it.
Yeah, and I'm learning as from the data from the past and how it was input, and I try to replicate that in today's money, and learning that that was, it's a skewed data. It's hard to get the correct data out of that system.
Rather than,
It's working properly.
rather than have more discussion on this, at some point down the road, when this is straightened out, I think you need to walk us through what went wrong and how it's been fixed and how it's going to be right going forward, so we know that the numbers that we see are the right ones.
Is the report that you gave, that we didn't receive, like a summary of?
Like, it's,
If you, well, don't,
Maybe can you please send it?
I'll get a copy of it,
Thank
send
you,
it.
appreciate it.
and that there's a lot more correct data on this report than was in the past.
Okay.
So we're getting the actual number of transient boats and
Yes.
all that stuff.
And a lot of the data is per foot, not the boat.
That's good.
Okay, and that's the report that you didn't get.
when we see the report, we'll look at it, and then we can have more discussion later on at the next meeting, or if we really need to know numbers, whoever wants to, will contact you directly.
Sure, yep. Feel free to come by.
I would like to know your overall feeling about the number of boats that we have for throughout the summer. Did we have, were we at full capacity most of the time, or did we have a lot of vacant slips? I mean, that's sort of, that would be.
Their transient numbers are in line or better than the past.
Okay.
We do have vacant slips, but they are transient slips. So from the past, I don't know how they laid out throughout the week. We do have a lot of empty slips during the week, but we're totally full on weekends.
Okay.
But the numbers that I've gone back and researched and came out with the 14-15 fiscal year compared to the 15-16 fiscal year, and we're above that in a lot of.
Okay. Thank you.
There was you weren't here last month, but there was a citizen's letter about how good the harbor is there. So they enjoy the harbor, but we don't have washers and dryers. Just put that in your next year's budget, or, you know.
We need room.
That's number one, yes.
We can make that happen. Just, it's all
Give
done.
us a proposal.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, I am. And that's actually in the very near future.
Okay.
Yes. About steps that we can take quicker than the whole, the whole picture that we want to come up with in the future. But the stuff that we can do now to make that happen. But we also have other things, that, especially the fuel system, that we have to do in the very near future.
Okay.
Because stuff like that we can't do in the summer. It's got to be done now or 2018. So that's something we're working on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Feel free.
I think we're good now. Questions about?
Where are we on the trail?
Well, the contractor is currently installing the stormwater drain system on Beach Street. They finished the east side between Jefferson and Washington today. That included replacing 2 laterals to 2 homes that were in conflict with the drain system. They'll be shifting over to the west side of that same block tomorrow, and that should take another couple of days to finish that. And then they'll drop south and do the storm drain system on the other block between Jefferson and Madison. That drains to the storm drains in Madison that go out and then connect to the all the way out to the bay. The northern block drains directly to the BFP on Bay Creek property. So they're moving along with that. That's kind of heavy lifting. Once they get the next 2 weeks, after the next 2 weeks, probably the first week of September, the concrete crew will be back, and they'll start pouring the trail from Washington, from Fig to Peach, as well as doing the trail curbing, new driveways, as well as the median strip on the northern block of Peach, and then follow the storm water crew in the southern block, and then
I've got a question. How much longer do you expect Peach Street to be blocked like it has been? And can we do anything for those people to open things up?
No, we can allow limited parking, and we do now. It's going to be blocked for another 2 months. This is road work, and this is not something that gets done overnight.
You just have a vision of road work. One guy working on the other guy's drinking coffee.
Well, we can't do too much about that, but.
I mean, if there's somebody that needs access, we can try to accommodate access.
I think they all need access.
I understand.
Give it some thought, see if there's something we can do. I don't know if there's anything we can do. I don't know if there's anything we can do.
Take a look.
Let's take a look. Anything else? All right, comments from the mayor, from the council, any comments? Steve?
There was a letter last month from Kathleen Coulter, and with a list of concerns that she noted walking around town. And I just wonder if anything's been done about any of those concerns. And if not, why not? And have we sent her an answer? And if not, we should probably implement a mechanism for responding to citizen comments, since we do not respond when they make comments at the meeting. If they have enough concern to go around and come in and provide a comment, I think we should provide them some kind of an answer. The community trail, last month I asked if we could redesignate the funding from South Beach Street to another phase, and we discussed having a work session to discuss future phases. The minutes state that Bob Panic stated a new resolution would need to be adopted and presented to the Commonwealth Transportation Board for approval. I assume that's for approval to redesignate that funding that's been authorized.
That is correct.
Has that resolution been drafted yet?
We haven't had a work session.
Does one have to go before the other?
Unless, I can draft a resolution, present it to council, you can adopt it. But I don't know what the resolution would say. You have to decide on what you want to use and when to do it.
What did you have in mind, Steve?
Well, I've got a number of things in mind that we'll discuss at the work session.
All right.
Main Street, I had asked that we have a detailed plan of action milestones this meeting. Haven't seen it. I'd like to know when that will be ready.
I've got it. We can do that at the same work session.
Well, let's get that scheduled. And then the last thing I have is council packages. We normally get council packages the Friday before the meeting. And for the last few months at least, and maybe longer, we get a package and then we get changes. We get additions, we get substitutions, we get reports, and then we get another package. Well, my schedule doesn't allow me to continually review these packages. I like to make my marks on the package on the iPad. When I start marking up one, I don't want to mark up another one when I get a revised one. I don't want to have to open 3 of them at the meeting and keep flipping back and forth. So if there's anything we can do to better define what it is we're sending out before we send it out, I would appreciate it.
If everything came in by due date, went in the packet, then there wouldn't be.
That is their job to get all of that in by the due date. It's our job to act.
Report, you have to wait till you close the month.
We moved the meeting 2 weeks so we could get the treasurer's report by the time we got to the meeting.
Was that the original thing? Because I wasn't aware of that when I was hired. Because we can't close till at least the 10th of the month.
Now, I'm okay that you have a meeting that's on the 15th, that you might have to struggle to get that, but when you have a meeting that's later than that, if you can close on the 10th, you know, a week should be plenty of time, my opinion on it. I'm done.
Okay. Chris? Dara? Kevin?
I would like to see the town issue a notification to council by email or some other way whenever we hire a new person or move a person from one position to another, so that we are not blindsided when someone tells us about it. I think I mean, we know who we've approved to offer a job, but we don't know whether or not that person has accepted the job, for example, or if the second person has to be offered the job. So it would be nice to have an announcement, but it probably would be nice to put something in the Gazette, announce to the general public when we have a new employee, or we promoted someone or whatever. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that I know that we have a concert in the park this Saturday night, thanks to Mr. Burkett. I wanted other people to know that we also have a lunch and learn this Saturday at noon, sponsored by the Friends of the Library, and Mr. Art Schwarzschild from the Anheuser-Busch Coastal Research Center is going to be giving a presentation on art and science. Should be very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no comments, and we've done pretty well in getting this meeting